take the question, is homework really necessary? However, before starting the debate, I am going to remember the principal rules of this debate for both teams. The first rule is, all the participation must be in English and using formal language. The next one is, delegates must respect the terms of participation. Delegates must respect the time established for participation. Delegates must not direct their arguments personally against any of the participants of the opposite side. And the last one, there is not a rule, but if any of the delegates have a question, just raise your hand and I will answer you. Then, in this way, we begin the debate, the second debate, with the introduction of the debate positions, where two participants of each team are going to present the position of the team, for or against. These delegates will have a maximum time of 2 minutes with 30 seconds. So, let's invite the speakers of the fourth team. We have Alexandra Guapaya and Leonardo Sologure. Class for them, please. Both of you will have a maximum time of 2 minutes with 30 seconds. When the time is over, an alarm will sound, but we recommend that you finish 5 to 10 seconds earlier. Well, the time will start running when you decide to speak.
Good afternoon to all the audience present. To begin with, we are going to answer the question that is the topic of this debate. Is homework that necessary? The answer is, it is. Globalization has made out of a world one that keeps changing, one that is in a constant evolution. And what do I mean by this? Is that the knowledge we have gotten through all these years is also changing, and at some certain point is going to change totally. So, the students of the generation that is before us will have to be taught new ways of learning these subjects. Such ways are different to the ones that we have been taught when we were in school, when we were in primary. So, it is here where homework plays an important role, because homework is the indicator to teachers and professors that informs and says the student has learned, that has understood the class, the student is ready to pass the exam, and if the student is capable of facing challenges that involve these subjects.
As said before me, as the world changes, so does the education, methodologies, and policies all over the world. This new set of rules and ideals are called new generation learning. It takes advantage of the technology in order to provide an education which is more flexible and comprehensive to each student. This makes so that learning is something more approachable and caring for all students, making homework more effective, while also granting professors, teachers, and their students trust, morale, and a more productive ambience in the classroom.
Thank you so much. Class for them. Please, next. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's invite the speakers of the against team. We have Jorge Bedoya Lozano and Fernando Mamano. That's correct. Okay. So, you can start when you decide.
Well, good morning to you all. Good afternoon. The question here is homework really necessary? Well, it is of public knowledge that homework and extracurricular tasks make up an important part of the academic system education of a country. However, it has been proven that their influence in the performance of the student is inversely proportional as the amount of work assigned to them. Not to mention the quantity of time they need to use for complete these activities. That's why we are against it's simply not worth it.
Now, homework has been around almost as equally as us, since the conception of this idea comes and it is the same as that of work, although only for educational purposes. Still, how many of us have suffered from long sleepless nights, fatigue and stress? From work that is supposed to reinforce what was learned in class, and yet only causes attention problems the next day, making the activity and class unproductive. It is clear to all of us that as we grow, these became more and more like chains that oppress and depress us. And with all the flaws that the educational system presents, one of the biggest, if not the most obvious, would be the wrong use of homework and how this simply impedes the development of the infant, his own freedom and his motivation. Don't you guys think it's time for a real change for the sake of us? Thank you.
Okay, the following part is the presentation of arguments. In this part, 3 participants of each group are going to speak. Each participant will have a time of 2 minutes to explain an argument of his position. In this case, 3 speakers of the 4 team will begin, and then the speakers of the against team will finish this part. So let's invite the 3 speakers of the 4 team, that are Ariana Yaca, Valerie Palomino, and Carlos Moncayo. That's for them, please. You can start when you decide.
In general, students retain only 50% of the information that teachers bring them in class. This is because at the moment they receive that information, their brains will not react as the same way as others. That's why teachers evaluate and provide homework according to their weaknesses and strengths, so that students can put into practice their cognitive abilities by developing activities where they can reinforce some part that was not entirely clear, and it can motivate them to investigate and expand their knowledge and to not be limited in just what they receive. In this way, not only do they reinforce what they have just learned, but they also anticipate the next class with previous and consolidated knowledge about the topic that will be covered. This will be reflected in the respective exams they take, where their grades will be pleasant due to the moderate amount of homework they receive. In addition, to complement what has been said before, homework promotes the memory, since students can relate or compare new concepts to old ones and make them stay in their brains for a long time, as well as they develop responsibility and independence. Thank you.
From an academic point of view, homework is an indication for 2 important points on the study academy. We say that quality of teaching and also the cognitive development. For teachers, it's of importance to see how their students are performing in their subject and to see what their personal and academic growth is starting to facilitate with solutions should problems arise. And we say one question that is a big question, literally. What would happen if they stop sending homework? Well, we know we have more time to do activities that we really like, but they are like a 50-50 because we have like good habits and students with bad habits. And we talk about the bad habits. We said being collected through an ad hoc questionnaire that the students spend an average of 47.23 minutes a day in video games, which as a passes becomes a vicious circle, not having homework. And like these vicious, we have like the drugs and the alcohol. But also we have a good examples of good habits, like is 𝐇𝐔𝐌𝐁𝐃𝐓 𝐃𝐄𝐁. She has more than 20 gold medals between the Olympic and World Swimming Games, and she has broken several world records. At the same time, she is go to the university, and his qualifications are really good. So we can organize our time and do our homeworks and also do activities that we really like. Thank you.
Nowadays, the system in the school gets a lot of benefits. But why? Because you can learn and improve in all the subjects or the topics. However, the 76.5% of the teachers in Alexander von Humboldt says that they are in favor with the homeworks because you can provide a feedback on the subject learned. The homeworks develops a responsibility which develops concerning learnings and all the things, and all the ways. Otherwise, the homeworks needs to be sent individually. The answer is yes. For motivating to all the students and gets good grades with it. Talking with the teachers, we had a conclusion that the homeworks that we have is almost like 50-50, like my friend Valerie said. The first 52% said that the homeworks must send weekly, and the other 41% said that the homework must be sent individually. Thanks.
That's for all the team of 4. Yes, please, the mics. The microphones. Thank you. Okay, so let's invite the 3 speakers of the against team. Well, in this case, are going to be 2 speakers of the against team. They are Maite Maquera and Antonio Vicuña. Class for them. So you can start when you decide.
Well, one of the most important objectives of sending homework to our students is to generate feedback to them. And well, obviously we know that the feedback is a process to remember the activities that you did in your school. Obviously this recover and is part of our grades. This means that it's obligatory, it's a mandatory skill. So this makes problems to our students. This means that those who have sporadic activities needs more time. So it's really necessary to send homework to our students, knowing that our students has regular activities to do and their time is not enough.
Good afternoon. I would actually like to talk about 3 countries in this case. This would be China, Russia, and Finland, where the first 2 have a higher amount of homework given to them according to the OCDE, higher than the world average. And I would also like to point to the PYSA test, which is an academic test taken every 3 years. Alright, when in the top 10, first of all, the giant European Russian is not on the list. Still, there's China and Finland in the top 5, actually. But I like to point that these 2 countries have a really different kind of education. Whereas China is mostly based in memorization, Finland is actually focused on activities and training the students, actually teaching to them. There's also flaws in education in China, and this data shows that there's not a high need of homeworks all the time, because Finland has a rate of 2.8 hours per week compared to the 13.2 hours from China. And both of them are in the top 5 with the biggest and highest results.
For the against team. The next, please. Thank you. Okay. So, the next part is the preparation of questions. where both teams will have a time of 7 minutes to prepare 3 questions, according to what was presented by the participants of the opposing group during the whole debate until now. In this stage of the debate, the 4 team have to move to the library, and the against team have to stay right here to prepare his questions. So please stand up and let's go. Okay, let's start. The following stage is questions, where there will be 6 participants per team. The time to ask the question will be 30 seconds, and to answer will be 1 minute with 30 seconds. The answer participation has to be immediately. If the speaker takes too long, I will cancel the participation. This part we will do it in rounds. There will be 6 rounds, where 1 participant of the 4 team will ask the question and someone from against will answer it. And then one from against will have to ask a question, so another speaker of 4 will have to answer. The first round is between Imanol Arenas and Fernando Amani. Class for them, please. Please stand up. Imanol Arenas is asking and Fernando Amani is answering the question. Cool. Okay, so you can speak when you decide it.
I here prefer that you mention Finland. Maria Victoria Madrid Mendoza, the Regional Director of Education of 𝐇𝐔𝐌𝐁𝐎𝐋𝐃𝐓 prohibited from giving homework to school children. But Alfredo Velasquez, General Secretary of United Union of Workers of Education in Peru, SUTEP, says that we are not Finland. And for this reason, he stressed, we knowledge that care in schools must be complemented with work. How will your methodology of Finland be applied in our country and other countries, knowing that it's failed before?
Please repeat the question.
How would the methodology of Finland be applied in our country, knowing that it has failed before?
Okay, the reply.
Okay, well, obviously we are not Finland. Peru is a country where you can really expect anything from us. Really. The people are not disciplined. It's the main problem with us, right? Also, Finland is an example. It's an example of a good example. It's a good example. However, if we take Finland apart, we can also take China, right? China is a place where you work tirelessly hours, 13 hours almost. And well, what does this mean? This means there's a lot of stress, pressure, a lot of it. It also takes the GPA exams. If you didn't know, there's like some kind of exam that decides your fate, decides what you're gonna do. And the people just pay a lot of money to get special tutors, extra classes, a lot of things. And it's just a lot of things just for homeworks, pressure, exams, and a lot of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The mics, please. Microphones. Microphones. Thank you so much. We have to remember something, that in the part of questions, you only have to say the question. You only have to ask the question. You don't have to say any kind of argument. Only that question. Then, the next round is between Maite Maquera and Alexandra Guapaya. Maite Maquera is asking and Alexandra Guapaya is answering the question. Here you go. Okay, so you can start when you decide.
Alright. As I said, I mentioned the difference between China and Finland. However, there's a great difference I mentioned also. That is the suicide rate. Very high suicide rates in China and a lot of countries in Asia where they have high amounts of homework compared to Finland or Estonia and other countries from that section of Europe with a similar kind of, well, what do you think? Do you think that has something to do with it?
Please repeat the question.
Do you think that the high amount of homework has a high impact in the suicide rates in China?
First of all, that is a European statistic, and I don't think so. What I think is it's not a high amount of homework. It is the student's will of learning. If the student procrastinates, then even if there is high amount of homework, the rate of good education is going to be low. So they are putting a lot of pressure. And I don't feel that's bad because we all have to be put under some pressure. That's it.
Thank you so much. Class for them, for both of the participants. Thank you. And thank you. It's the last time that I will remember. In the part of question, you only have to say the question. You only have to ask the question. Okay, sorry. In the part of question, you only have to say the question. You only have to ask. Don't mention any kind of argument more. So, the next round is between Mario Palomino and Antonio Vicuña Bravo. Here you have. Mario Palomino is asking and Antonio Vicuña Bravo is answering.
What's the methodology that we have to use if we want to cut off the homeworks on Peru? Just knowing that the students need to refer the topics of the subject.
Well, as we mentioned before, Finland uses a methodology based on didactic games and activities that are more like trying to interact with the student and not memorizing. So basically, more of the, many of our schools based on the methodology of memorization and hours in homework. So basically, an example is China that have approximately 13 hours and 3 hours of homework. So it's many homework and the rendement of them is not the same as Finland. Finland is better having in account that they just leave 1 hour of homework. Thank you.
Okay. That's for both of the participants. Thank you. Then the next round is between Chiara Tuesta and Leonardo Soloburen. Chiara Tuesta is asking and Leonardo Soloburen is answering. Here you have. Yeah, please taste that.
Testing.
Thank you. Here.
Really? Okay, my question is, how are you sure that homework works for cognitive development, knowing that most of them are product of plagiarism? How are you sure that homework works for cognitive development, knowing that most of them are product of plagiarism?
So, as you said, most homework can be finished by plagiarism because the student is not really motivated to do their homework. And this is not really because homework is bad or it's just not working. This is because the methodology of institutional things such as school or a university is not working. In other words, it's not the homework that doesn't develop as students progress and development. It's the methodology used in the school that makes it troublesome for some students to get motivation or skills necessary in order to be greater and learn more.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Then the next round is between Ariana Ñaca and Jorge Bedoya. Ariana Ñaca is asking and Jorge Bedoya is answering. Here. Sorry. Here you have. So you can speak when you decide it.
Do you think that all the students will use or spend their time correctly if they had no homework? I mean, in their free time.
Well, as you mentioned, this topic don't include all the students. Many students have stress, and the World Health Organization said that the 34% and the 25% of boys and girls respectively of 11 years old feel overwhelmed, and from their number of increases. At 13 years old, 55% of girls and 53% of boys. At 15, 70%. The homeworks stress our students, and these students want to do more activities productively, like play football, as Valeria said, swimming activities. There is a lot of activities to do, more than just do homeworks like 13 hours in a week.
Thank you so much. Claps for both of the participants. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to finish the part of questions with the final round between Jorge Bedoya again and Carlos Moncayo. Jorge Bedoya is asking and Carlos Moncayo is answering. Please come here. Here you have. You can start when you decide it.
How the teachers can be sure that the student is learning and doing his homework by himself and without of the help of external people?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How the teacher can be sure that the student is really learning and doing his homework by himself without the help of external people?
Okay, all of the people and most of the teachers says that with organization, with your homeworks and life, you could get a good results and in all the areas. Everybody can organize his type of life and how they carry it. His all decisions, because we are talking about how you can improve your homework and how you can know that you're doing the homework. As you said before, you can the teacher can ask the students how they did the homework, how they do the homework, and how they can explain in the classroom how they do the homework. So in different ways.
Okay, thank you so much. That's for both of the participants or speakers. Thank you. Okay, so the next part is the preparation for the open debate. In this case, we are going to do the same that we did it before, with the preparation of questions. The 14 have to move to the library, and the against team have to stay right here to have a meeting and prepare your arguments for the open debate. So please stand up and do it right now. Okay, so let's start. The next stage is the open debate. The speakers can interrupt the participant speeches of the opposite group, and the judges will not discount points for that. All the speakers can participate whenever you want. But something is important. The open debate is not a war, either a party. This debate is serious, and all of you have to be respectful with your arguments. So, the speaker that wants to start, raise your hand, please. Both teams will have a microphone. You decided to you who pass the microphone. To who? That's the big. And for this part, you only have to stand up and talk. You don't have to stay right here. Nothing more of that. Yeah. 14. But the first one is white. And sorry, the time for the open debate is 10 minutes. So you can start when you decide.
I'd actually like to point out. Would like to talk about the first question that you asked. This is actually not a system that has only worked for one country. This actually has worked for other countries as well, like Estonia, which has a very similar type of system as Finland. So it's really not a one thing, one trick pony. It actually has a lot of countries and different systems. Obviously, this is not a one-step thing that you just can't eliminate all the homework in one day or one night. This is a process, a slow process that may take figure in the future.
Complementing, as you mentioned, Peru tried to implement the education system of Finland before, but the idea is not a problem. It is the way how our country executed that educational plan. All is a process.
I said it before. Alfredo Velázquez, General Secretary of the Union of Workers of Education of Peru, said, a measure that is based on educational experience like that of Finland is a wrong measure, because that is a different country of ours. They have other priorities there. What the Regional Council of ICA has to do is carry out a study based on the reality of of that region. We have to study Peru, not Finland.
Adding to what my partner Emmanuel said, I think you're focusing too much on countries that have a well level of education and have high resources. In other words, first world countries. Thus, we should focus a bit more on the countries that don't have that many resources to give neither a good education or good living conditions to their people.
Well, as you mentioned, it's a problem with the educational system. Yeah, and almost all of the countries that have that are first class, well, that are first world, usually have a good educational system. And in your own personal opinion, what are the biggest flaws of homework in general? Do you think really is the educational system is at fault here?
Talking about third world countries, I would like to mention that there are countries with less homework, obviously not as low as Finland, but Chile and Uruguay are on the top of Latin America, with a lesser amount of homework than the usual, and much higher than Peru. They're usually in the first, second, and third place in Latam.
The 14 can participate, please. Please, it's important that all the members participate.
Like I said before, the system in the school gets a lot of benefits because you can learn and improve all your subjects or topics. And like I said before too, the homeworks that we had is almost 50-50. The first 52% said that the homeworks must send weekly, and the other 41% says that the homeworks must be sent into their.
That statistic is from here, from this institution, for Alexander von Humboldt. That is a real statistic. we have an interview with all the teachers. How can you respond about that?
I'm talking with statistics. We talk with a lot of teachers, and the 76.5% of the teachers in Alexander von Humboldt said that they are in favor with the homeworks.
And I have one question too. What is the advantage of eliminate homework? Only eliminate stress? Because when we talk about benefits of homework, we say that homework teaches time management, teaches how to set priorities, teaches how to solve problems, how to take responsibility for their own education problem, that they may have to do things even if they don't want to. Homework helps teachers determine how well the lessons are being understood by the students. And what are the benefits of eliminate homeworks?
Okay, you are talking about eliminating homework, but you said that homework has benefits like improving our formation of ourselves. It's not really that. The formation depends on teachers, on our home, school, not really on homework. It's not based on that.
It's a problem in general. If we just take Alexander von Humboldt as an example, obviously we're not gonna have a lot of problems. We are really just great students in general, yeah? And that. We're just talking also just about the teachers. Have you also asked about students? Have you asked if they suffer from stress? Have you asked if they have maybe stay up until 2 a.m. maybe?
All the students don't have the capacities that you mentioned before. Each student have a world behind. Focusing on big countries is the key of improve our students' performance. Interact with them and search the way how we can explode their capacities.
There's something I'd like to ask here. So you mentioned if we asked the students, which we did. In fact, we asked the top ones in grades and the lower ones in grades. Both said the same, or almost the same response. That homework is not really that bad and that they can tolerate it. The problem here is that they think there's some bad organization for part of the students, or bad methodology, or time to leave the homework for the teachers. In other words, yes, the methodology is wrong. For example, when you said just previously a fact about China and the Swiss grades, you should remember that this is not because the homeworks are too hard, it's because the amount of homework given. If you were to carry something like a sack of rice, carrying the rice wouldn't kill you. What would kill you would be carrying too much rice at the same time. So this is not a problem of too much homework, it's not a problem of the homework, it's too much homework given from the teachers. Methodology.
Well, we're talking about an ideal case. If we are being real, how many times have you been given homework that's been really exciting to do, that's been really special? Has there ever been a homework that just like, I have to do it, I have to do it? It's like, have you ever been given that kind of homework? I don't think so. Is homework always gonna be well prepared and executed?
Please, the participation of the fourth team. Remember that the open debate is for all the people that is not participating in the other stages. So please, this is your opportunity. The time is running also.
Okay, so you are not saying about something, you're not talking about something. What motivates a student is when the homework is not a so long homework. It's like a short homework that they can feel they can execute well this homework. They can finish this homework. That's what motivates the student, and this small motivation causes them to feel the same when doing now long projects for school.
Well, that's why in Finland homework only takes 20 minutes.
But this is not about Finland. This is about Peru.
Yeah, but we should take a sample of Finland, right?
Finland has another school system. It's not the
But you said it before. You said it before. The educational system is wrong. That is the main problem of the homework. The amount of homework that they give us and the methodology that they want we use.
Thank you. Well, the time is over. Please clap for all the participants. In this case, we are going to give 5 minutes to prepare another explanation.
Well, we didn't mention any homework in particular. We're just talking about the extensive homework that is just really frustrating to do because we know that we will not learn anything about them, well, not anything new about them. And also, we came to resolve problems here, right? If we keep being conservative, how can we solve our problems? We need to have an open mind, right? It's a debate, after all.
The students see the homework how bad because the student is facilist. The student don't want to do the homework. It don't have motivation. In Finland, the students want to do the homework. But now, because you are creating the orthodox system of education, not the actual system of education. Because now the student is motivated to do the homework. Because now the problems of mathematics are 5 or 10, not 20 or 30.
Adding what Imanol said, that the homework that the teacher lent us is a good homework. It doesn't have nothing wrong to lend us a news or a history video. That's just because the human is lazy and facing is passive by his nature.
Well, what took the population, the students, to the facilism of copying homeworks that they see? Well, the student, since he was a child, was taught to do a simple investigation, search a thing, and they don't really research about the homework. They just copy and paste or ask their parents, who gave them the facility of an easy homework to them. And that has been copied into their their adolescence. And now that they have more amounts of homework than in childhood, they will copy more. They won't learn because that's what we've been teaching them since they were small, that they can just copy.
Excuse me, but I think you're using too much time. Can you resume it in a question if you could, please? Resume it in a question.
It was not a question.
Exactly, we're not understanding your point. Try to make you more clear.
It was an answer to what you mentioned before about why students copy so much here in Peru, and because why they are no motivated to do things.
You are talking about the information that you get about. You mentioned information to get informed. Okay, we're talking about copy paste. We are not talking about the type of homework. We're talking homework in general.
Copy paste is for the student, because I said it before, the student is facilist. That is what it says, the copy paste. The bug is not the homework, it is the student, it's the system. Because now the system is not favoring the student.
We know that our educational system is bad, right? Why can't we take an example of other countries, like Chile or Paraguay? if we know their way is working. It's a slow process, but it's gonna work eventually.
We cannot just focus on ourselves to solve this problem. Just looking around us, our school always searches a way of improving his education, motivating our students with activities like dancing, football, etc. Looking away these options in other countries.
You mentioned about copy and paste, but don't you think that it is depending on the student, not about the homework in general?
But how do you ask to the student to have that organization? We are in plenty period of formation. We are not adults. We don't know how to. I think the idea here is the formation in the school, in the house. That's the point. The point is not to do homework, because any of us could do the homework in the way we want. And that depends on our formation.
What is the participation of the 14?
We're not talking about eliminating homework at all. We're talking to reduce it drastically. If we reduce it drastically, we can have more time to do things we enjoy. Things that actually make us grow as a human being.
Which is being planted by the United States, by London, England. England, for example, is proposing a new educational system, a new methodology, which is already being applied in many parts of the world. This methodology is more flexible to the student and more comprehensive to any faults they could have, such as responsibility, discipline, etc.
Like England says my partner, the Department of Education in the United Kingdom, we are saying that homework gives like essential for building social relationships and also contributing for the work life. Improve communications are the vital life skills that will open the door to unique opportunities and help children find success in their careers.
Can you repeat your argument? We don't get your point.
Okay. I'm just complaining the argument of my partner. I said that the Department of Education in the United Kingdom, they are giving homeworks to the students, and that methodology have like improved more the communication for the vital life skills, and also open the door to unique opportunities to the students and help us to help them to find success in their careers.
And how homework could work?
You mentioned that homework improves social interactions, social relationships. I would like to ask, how does that work if homework is mostly made alone?
It just forms responsibility, that's all.
But we are just kids, we're not adults. No, we are teenagers. We need to...
No, relation work. Homework with relation, how it works.
You talked about homework building social relationships, and I'm confused because I don't really understand how is that supposed to work.
Every time I work I get a teamwork, a group project. I'm just tired. It's just like it's just tiresome to do teamwork because we don't really talk. We just present things, we just divide things, and that's all really.
Wouldn't that be depending on the personality and depending on the work given by the school? For example, if you're given a work for teamwork in
For the
art,
participation, please stand up.
as I was saying, this is something that comes in the matter of the students participating and the work given by school. For example, if it's a teamwork in art, obviously not everyone can develop their skills if they don't know how to do this. However, most try to focus on all students having the opportunity to develop skills. For example, if you were giving a project in robotics, the idea is all of the students participating, and eventually it is focused on the advanced students that
But you mentioned it before, the student is facilitated. You mentioned it before. The educational system is wrong because don't find a way how they can motivate our students. We are not ready to take a decision.
Please don't talk too fast, I didn't understand.
The student is facilitated. You mentioned it before. You understand that. The educational system is wrong because they don't find a way how we can motivate us to do the homeworks. They don't find the best way to do that. We are not ready to take an important decision like we want to study. We are ready to take that decision behind 100%.
So you're basically telling me that the student is not ready for such a great task?
Time of the open debate is over. So please claps for all the participants that have participated in this second debate. Then the next part is the preparation of conclusions, where both teams will have a time of 7 minutes to prepare the conclusion of the debate. Like before, the for team please go to the library and the against team can stay right here. So please stand up and go.
In conclusion, homework plays an important and necessary role in the development and preparation of students to face a future full of challenges that require organization, discipline, and competitiveness instilled by the school and later reinforced with the resolution of homework. We are defending the sending of planned and non-excessive tasks that many affect the students, since the objective is that they learn, not stress.
Finally, according to the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, the knowledge acquired will be great help to us since everything we have seen in the future. We will know how to apply and where. In addition to the fact that it is very complete and interesting approach due to the way in which it's carried out. It will depend on each one. Approach that we will see in this father we like and help us in our future career.
That is the end. Well, thank you so much. Class for Emmanuel and Elena. Okay, so then let's invite the two speakers of the against team. We have Kiara Tuesta Girón and Maite Maquera Gallegos. Class for them. You can start when you decided to do it. Hola, Testa.
In conclusion, through everything that has been presented, it can be concluded that the tasks are misunderstood and the educational system is a failure. Homework can be research that can strain knowledge, but its abuse, its wrong execution becomes a martyrdom for new generations. It has to be regulated and changed, not all of a sudden because it's a process.
Assigning excessive amount of homework is usually counterproductive in a student performance. Instead, time should be focused on other students' aspects, such as individual and personalized attention to each student, since each one has their own rate of learning. Each individual presenting their own needs and characteristics, which is why a priority should be given to working on the aspect on the classroom instead of homework completely, to completely achieve a comprehensive development in each student. I would like to thank our companions for this conversation that has led to a mutual agreement in the final open speech that even though homeworks are a part of school, not necessarily an excess or a high amount should be given, and it should be the amount of homework given and delivered should be lower. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the against team. And well, we have finished the second debate of the Humboldt Debate 2022 event. Class for all the participants, because you have been doing so great. We invite the teacher Raul. Okay. But in this case, we will invite the teacher Raul to, no? Okay, well. Okay, so we are going to wait to the principal help from the voice. You want to hear some coffee shop music?
Felicitarlo a todos ustedes, agradecer y felicitar al equipo de inglés encabezado por el profesor Ángel, pero es un trabajo no saben cuánto. ¿Qué ventaja nos da el saber en inglés? Estamos mejor que cualquier colegio de Tacna si manejamos en inglés, no importa la otra parte cognitiva. Yo quiero felicitarlos por su tiempo, dedicación, responsabilidad, hasta por la vestimenta que tienen, chicos. Créanme, verlos a ustedes con terno, con un traje, digamos, bien puesto, nos da otro lugar, les da otra prestancia. Y eso ustedes lo han dado. A nombre de todo el colegio, como director, orgullosos de ustedes, queridos muchachos, doy por clausurado este evento que creo que ha sido magnífico de este debate en inglés. Muchísimas gracias.